Hello, hockey fans. Well, we were treated to three games today, in because the schedule was a bit odd. We only had the one game last night, and now we got the other three game threes that took place. And after those games, well, we learned that Ford is screwed. Now, it's I just couldn't believe how badly they were beaten. But wow, there's one good thing that happened for the Panthers today. They scored on the power play. Proof that miracles really do happen on Sundays. The 26th time was the charm. 26, my goodness. But yeah, it was Sam. Was it Sam Reinhard? Who got the PPG, their first one of the playoffs after 26 tries. 25 unsuccessful was, like I said, the 26th time was the charm. But Sam Reinhart, the ex-Saber. But it will be the only goal of the game as Tampa Bay poured it on. So Tampa's up 3-0, and it looks like it's a foregone conclusion that we'll see them in the Final Four again. Elsewhere, the Rangers managed to take Game 3 in MSG by a score of 3-1. Igor Shesterkin, the old Igor, is back. 43 saves out of 44 shots, and we have a series all of a sudden. And and this night ended with the Battle of Alberta and Evander Kane. Oh my God, Kane is playing out of his mind. He is. He had a hat trick, his second of this year's playoffs. He had one in one of the games against the Kings, but so that's two hat tricks. He has 10 goals this postseason. 10. It's amazing. It had me thinking, maybe Kane's happy in Edmonton, and maybe he may not mess this up. He better not. This is basically his last chance, and I'm still surprised that his last chance to be the NHL has him playing with, of all people, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Are you kidding? But he's there, and he appears to be having a ball, and maybe he might keep his head out of his rear end. Now, so that's all the action. Now, elsewhere, I do have to talk about this. So, things have become quite ominous in the whole thing involving Nazem Kadri. Of course, we saw the game. It was in the first period. Nazem Kadri and a player for the Blues, they collided together. They both end up bowling into Jordan Binnington. Of course, Binnington ended up getting injured, and he had to lead the game. And it's reported today that he's out for the rest of the series. Kadri's getting all the blame for Blues fans because he's Kadri, even though analysts who called the game said it was friendly fire. Binnington's own teammate caused the injury, and other talking heads said Binnington's own teammate caused the injury. But the Blues fans, they have their minds made up. They're saying it's Kadri, and Craig Berube say, "Well, his reputation." Oh boy! And of course, we all saw the interview. They say a water bottle was thrown at Kadri while he was talking to the TNT guys, and it was Binnington who did it. That guy's a complete piece of work. I'm trying to be clean here because I still to this day say he has been bitchy, butthurt, and pissy ever since Kadri scored that buzzer beater on him in the bubble. That's still in his head. Nazem Kadri's been living rent free in Binnington's head ever since that day. It was almost 2 years ago. He needs to get over it. And of course, there's bad feelings because Kadri had that hit to Falk that got him suspended. But like I said, it's getting ominous. He's been on the receiving end of racist comments from Blues fans and death threats. He has been. And I did read that the Avalanche are actually working with police in St. Louis on this. It is serious. And it's just awful that this is still going on. And it got to me a bit as I talked about it because um, even nowadays I'm still a rarity. One thing, there are two things that I take pride in. One is being a black person, the other is being a hockey fan. And I've known for years that not a lot of hockey fans look like me. And um, and I read about Berube's past. He's got his own racist problems. When he played, he once called Peter Worrell a monkey. Yeah, this is true. And I remember Peter Worrell. I watched it with the Panthers. The Avalanche had him for a brief spell. And when he was playing, I was a teenager. And I had been in the hockey since I was a kid, but I had followed it through the sports section. I didn't really watch it till I got cable. I was 12 years old at the time. And immediately I kind of knew, there's not a lot of players in the NHL who look like me. But when I did I did notice some. I think the first one I really saw was, I learned about Grant Furr, but never really got to see him play. And of course, as the years passed, as in my hockey fandom, I learned about Willie O'Ree breaking the barrier. Of course, this is the 15th anniversary of that. But I saw Mike Greer with the Oilers, and he wasn't alone in that team. There was Mike Greer, there was Anson Carter, who's now an analyst on TNT, and of course there's George Larac. Larac was this big enforcer, and I see not one, not two, but three players on the same team with my complexion. I literally beamed. Imagine what that's like. You imagine what that's like as a hockey fan. Because I said, there's not. I kind of say somewhat joking. I'm a big super minority. I'm a black hockey fan. There's still not a lot of us, but I think more of us are getting into it, and more of us are playing the game. Because I've been, and I would beam when I would see more of us in the sport. Jerome McGinley, Anthony and Chris Stewart, Peter Worrell, the aforementioned Peter Worrell, Kevin Weeks, who was a goaltender. Of course, in recent years, the last decade or so, Dustin Byfuglien, the Subban brothers, PK and Malcolm also a goalie, even Evander Kane. I love seeing Evander Kane before he became the NHL's equivalent of Antonio Brown. And of course, the current crop, you have Seth Jones and his brothers playing. They're both on this Blackhawks together. And there's Keandre Miller with the Rangers, Quentin Byfield with the Canes. Of course, Byfield was drafted. He was drafted number 2 overall. I think no black player has ever been drafted higher. Well, always draft higher as number 1, but that's the highest a black player has been drafted in the NHL. And I see a few more of us on the ice skating, scoring goals. Wayne Simmons, that's another one with the Maple Leafs, and Darnell Nurse, who plays with Kane in Edmonton. And I see more of us out there playing, and it's not just black, but just a big diverse collection in the NHL, like Matthew Dumba, Jason Robinson, who are both Filipino, and a Latinx player in the form of Alec Martinez, who scored 2 series clinching goals in that 2014 run with LA, Game 7 against Chicago, the Western Conference Final, and of course that goal in Game 5 against the Rangers that got them their second cup. And I see this diversity over the years, and Kadri's part of it. Nazem Kadri's part of it, and I see this diversity, and it upsets me when a certain group of people, just mess with players like of color, mess with players horrendously because they either look like me or they don't look like them. And it's awful that it's happening in this this in this current time, and especially in this current climate. And Kadri's been through this before, because I read he was hit with racial slurs, I think about 3 years ago, when by Leafs fans, and he was on the Leafs at the time. They were blaming him for the series loss to Boston, but no player should go through this. It shouldn't, and it's awful that this is happening, and it's reached too far. Like I said, police are getting involved in this thing. I mean, it's it's just awful. We need to try to nip this in the bud. At least try our best, because we as people, as human beings, cannot be conducting ourselves like this. We just cannot. It is regardless of hockey, just in any form, it can't be done. So that's how I'll end my vid. Of course, we had the three game threes, and we got a pair. We got some game fours coming up on Monday and Tuesday. It's back to the normal rotation, and tomorrow night it's game 4 of the Florida series, the first elimination game of round 2, because Florida is face elimination, and I hope Joe Thornton gets some ice time, because it's a shame that a player like that has played all those games and has never hoisted a cup. Him and Patrick Marleau have played the most combined games with regular season playoffs, almost 2,000 games each. They never won the cup. Isn't that something? So it's game 4 of that series, and then it's game 4 of our series. Avs Blues with Colorado up 2-1. And then on Tuesday, it's game 4 in the Metro and the Pacific. Rangers, Hurricanes, still at MSG. Carolina's lead is now down to 2-1 in that series. And the Battle of Alberta, still at Edmonton. Edmonton takes the lead now, 2-1. The Oilers are 2 wins away from reaching conference finals. I think this will be the first time since they made that run back in 2006. So, yeah. So it'll be Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl's first trip past round 2. This is only the second time they've gotten this far. But yeah, so that's what's in store for us in the next couple of days. Thanks for watching. That's my recap of tonight. If you like this video, click the like button, click subscribe if you want more. I will be back tomorrow with a recap of the game 4s in the Atlantic and Central, maybe with some congratulations to Tampa. Oh, and one more thing. If Tampa Bay does clinch the series on Monday, they'll start on the road. I looked at the standings, and while the Rangers are the same number of points, but the Rangers have tiebreakers over Tampa. So if Tampa does complete the sweep, they will start on the road against whoever wins the Metro series in the Eastern Conference Final. It's kind of like because they don't take division seeding into play. It's all about point total. Just like in 2018, it was Vegas and Winnipeg in the West. Vegas won their division. Winnipeg didn't, but Winnipeg had a higher point total, so Winnipeg had home ice in that. It's all about record. So that's how that goes. So Tampa will start the conference final on the road should they advance. So anyway, I'll be back tomorrow to recap the game 4s, maybe with congratulations to the Lightning. So stay tuned.